Hey guys, welcome to a new reading vlog. This week we are going to be doing a video I have been very excited to get back to, and one that I have had in the works and planned for quite some time. You guys know, not too long ago, maybe about this time last year, because it's been in the works for a little while, I did a video of reading like my favorite author, Anthony Ryan. As you guys know, I'm a huge fan. That's why that you always see his books right here in my videos. I absolutely love Anthony Ryan, but he's not my only favorite author. I've got quite a few, and he just happens to be the #1 fantasy author that I'm a fan of. I will have more of these videos coming for you though. I hope. I gotta get in contact with the authors for this to be a thing that can happen more often. But as you guys know, one of my favorite series is The Graven by Essa Hansen. And so I asked Essa to give me some book recommendations and things like that. I want to know where her inspiration comes from. I want to know what she thinks I would like, you know, all of these things. See like where our tastes align and stuff like that, because I love her writing, but do we read the same books? So I have two physically and I have two on audio that I want to tackle for this video. And I promise I'm not gonna pull a me and read Aethera Grave, even though I probably should. But at this moment, the physical reading time I have is very limited. So I want to be able to invest time into that when I read it. But two that she was recommending to me like often and one that we'd been talking about because we both like the series. I will be reading The Defiant Heir by Melissa Caruso. This happens to be her favorite of this trilogy, and we've talked quite a few times about how Melissa Caruso is highly underrated and definitely needs more eyes on her books, and how much we really enjoy this series and the follow-up series. So I'm looking forward to delving into this. Yes, this is the second book in a series, and I might actually go ahead and read the third. I don't know if I will in this vlog, but very soon. And so far, because I don't know, I don't have my bookmark in here because I'm doing this on audio right now. I'm probably about 100 pages into this, and I'm very much enjoying it. And it is definitely picking up at a place where I'm not lost from the first book. I remember enough to know exactly what's going on, and I still really love these characters. So I'm looking forward to continuing with this one. So in this vlog, I will be reading the one book that I feel like she recommends most often, and that would be The Echo Wife by Sarah Gailey. Now, this is one we've talked about reading multiple times, and Sunyi also was a part of this. Like, she got in on the action of recommending Sarah Gailey to all of us in the Discord. And so I feel like I have to read this one if I'm gonna figure out if mine and Essa's tastes align. Also, she really loves Annihilation by Jeff Vandermeer. Now, I can say I did enjoy that first book. I was just of the mind that after the first book, I didn't need any more. Yes, there are unanswered questions, but did I need those questions answered? No. I felt like it was a good book on its own. And then, so I never finished that. So I might read the second book to Annihilation in this vlog. I haven't decided yet. And then also one I would have to get from Libby, because I can almost guarantee that our tastes are not going to align on this one, but I've been wanting to read it for a while, and this gives me the perfect excuse, and that would be This Is How You Lose the Time War. And I know that this book is all vibes, no plot. That's what I've heard. But it is one of Essa's favorites, and it is one that she looks to for inspiration for writing. And so I'm very tempted to not read this one because I'm afraid I'll DNF it, but also really intrigued to see. I mean, because Essa's writing is very flowery and pretty purple, so there are a lot of vibes going on in her books, even though there is a plot. I do think that I could see where something like that would be really appealing to someone who writes books like Essa does. And then I also have a horror that Essa has recommended to me specifically. So I want to get this one on the docket because I also have this one on audio and in physical, well, I mean, an ebook. And so I need to let you guys like see the cover of this though, because you know the bright colors on horror books, like it gets me. So I will post an image of it and let you guys see that. But this is Break the Bodies, Haunt the Bones by Micaiah Dean Hicks. It says Swine Hill was full of the dead. Their ghosts were thickest near the abandoned downtown, where so many of the town's hopes had died generation by generation. They lingered in the places that mattered to them, and people avoided those streets, those locked doors, stopped going into those rooms. They could hurt you. Worse, they could change you. And she recommended this one directly to me because I am a horror fan, and she really enjoyed this one. Now, this is one of those that has like a 3.63 rating, so that probably means it's a pretty dang good horror. But, I mean, that's pretty high for a dark book. Dark books get a bad rap, guys. They get a bad rap. And so I'm very excited to delve into this one. That's all I know about it. Essa recommended it to me, and what I just read to you. So I haven't heard anybody else talk about it, but you guys know I love finding those books that maybe not a lot of people have read and letting you guys know about them, and, you know, spreading my love of underrated books. Now, I say underrated. This has 211 reviews, 840 ratings. So we shall see. We shall see if this one is up to my taste, if our tastes are aligning, Miss Essa. Also, if you guys don't know, Essa Hansen is a complete badass. You need to like go look at some of her like bios, because this woman is amazing and can do anything and does some of the coolest stuff you've ever heard of in your life. Okay, I will check back in with you guys whenever I get further in either the Defiant Air or I start something else. I am, let's see, I'm 12 chapters into the Defiant Air. That's almost 140 pages, and I'm really enjoying this. This really does pick up where the last book left off. And so I'm not really missing anything. My memory is holding up, and I like totally forgot one thing, and that is how much I love Zarya. Like, I totally adore her. She is a little bit of a firecracker. I also enjoy most of the characters in this story. I don't think there's any that I don't like, but it's such a fun book. Fun, like, I say fun. There are dark moments that happen, but I'm really, really enjoying myself with this. And I'm so glad that I chose this book to start off this vlog, because this is one that we've talked about on the Discord quite often, and Essa has mentioned that this is her favorite one of the trilogy. So I'm enjoying myself. I'm enjoying myself. So I know that I said that there's a good chance that I will probably read the third one, but I don't know if it'll be for this vlog. I might just read it later. I have been considering doing a vlog of finishing series, and so definitely need to at least continue some series, if not finish them. And I might wait for that, but absolutely loving this. I've really enjoyed this series. I think it is a very slept on series, and I am totally understanding why some people say that it is better to read this series first, even though you don't have to, before jumping into the Obsidian Tower. This book in particular makes a lot of what happens in the Obsidian Tower make sense. So I thought the Obsidian Tower was a great book standing on its own without having all of this backstory, but there is some history that you're kind of a little confused about in the beginning of the Obsidian Tower. It does get explained, but yeah, so glad to be reading Melissa Caruso again. Now, Libby has come in and said I'm going to be reading The House of Rot and Ruin. Is that the new one? I'm looking for it. I know it's around here somewhere, but I'm not really sure. Oh, it's right there. House of Rot and Ruin, yes, by Erin A. Craig. I'm actually going to be doing that for a different vlog. So I am going to try recording 2 vlogs at once and see how that goes. I'm not really sure how well I'm going to get it to all work together, or if my phone will hold up to it, but we shall see. We shall see. Also, I did get my book of the month book for this month, and let me show you what I chose. I always really love their bookmarks. It says, you know, you want to keep going. The one that I'm currently using says, respectfully leave me alone. So I always love their bookmarks because they always say something pretty cheeky on them, and I use them. So there's that. Oh, there you go. If you want a referral code, you can scan that for book of the month. But I chose What the River Knows by Isabel Ibanez. Now, I'm put together my 100 favorite sci-fi and fantasy books and top 100. I've done that list already, and Isabel Ibanez is on that list. So I'm very excited to see what she has come up with next. And from what I know, this is pretty gothic, and I'm very excited about that. Her last one was Spanish Dragon Fantasy, and totally fell in love with that one. The culture, everything about that book. I already know that I like her writing style, so this should be really fun for me, and just another for me to fall in love with. I'm hoping that I can get the audio for this and do an immersive read. And this might actually play into the next video that I want to do as well. So that is my check-in for now. I'll see you guys later. Hey guys, I'm back. I have finished The Defiant Heir. It is now Tuesday morning, so I'm pretty dang tired. But I just finished this. I have to say, one of the things I really love about this series is the witch lords themselves. Like, there's so much going on with them that every time you encounter them in the novel, like, you learn a little bit more about them, and I really love that. It's why I'm really excited to read this series and then continue on with the Obsidian Tower and that series, because there's so much that these books are giving me in context to the continuation, and I just really enjoy it. I really enjoy it. Now, it's funny. So I was reading this, and there is a character in here. His name is Keith. And so I'm reading this, obviously, because this is a series that Essa and I have talked about, and this whole video is reading like my favorite author. I asked her, I was like, Keith, tell me, did you get inspiration for Thray, which is a character in The Graven? And she was like, actually, no. I wrote Thray before I read these books. I'm like, okay, well, I see why you like this one the most, because this is like Thray. This is Thray's book. And so that was kind of interesting. I had just assumed that she read this series and got inspiration for the character for one of her books. And so I like Keith. He's a new favorite of mine. Also, I don't know if I mentioned this previously, but one of my favorite characters, Zarya, she is in a sapphic relationship. So there is sapphic representation in this. And then we have our main character who is straight. But I love Zarya and her girl's relationship in this because it's adorable. And I've said many times, I love my trauma babies. And Zarya is definitely one of those trauma babies. But fantastic. I think I'm going to give this 5 stars. I'm pretty sure I'm going to give this 5 stars. This has elevated this series. I have told you guys that I'm working on my top 100 science fiction and fantasy books / series. And this book has pushed my ranking of this series up quite high. But I just... Oh, and I love that change the magic, change the game, because these are very political. So our main character is actually heir to the throne, and for her kingdom, and she has to get involved with the witch lords in this one, and has to navigate the politics of her world, even being something she's not supposed to be. Like, she's not supposed to have control over a mage. Like, that's the whole issue that has been at the center of the first book. And then as the political intrigue rises in this one, she's obviously taking flack for being other than what she's supposed to be. But anyway, fantastic book. Now, I think the next book, no, I'm pretty sure the next book that I am going to be reading is This Is How You Lose a Time War. And I'm very interested in this one because I know Essa's writing is very flowery, but it's vivid and imaginative. And she told me whenever we were talking about influences and stuff like that, that this one is one that she loved the flow of the writing, the way that the words on the paper just moved. The writing structure was very different. And so I'm very excited to see if I can make the connections with The Graven and this book, because this is not a book I would normally pick up. I know everyone is going to be shouting at me, all vibes, no plot, you're going to hate it. I can already hear everybody saying this to me. But I'm very, very excited to see if I can make the connections. Like I said, can't guarantee I'm gonna love the book. It might be something that comes in at like a 3-star for me, or I might hate it, or I might even DNF it. I don't know, but I want to see the connection between what Essa reads and what Essa writes. So I will check in with you guys when I get further into This Is How You Lose a Time War. All right, guys, happy end 7 days since I forgot to say it earlier. I am wearing my Reyes shirt to show my love for Mass Effect Andromeda. So I have started This Is How You Lose the Time War. Now, I've talked to Essa about the influences that she's had and stuff like that, and how the world building in this is very reminiscent of what is in Azure Ghost. And I can definitely see the influences. However, I'm going to DNF this book because we both knew this book was not going to be for me. And even all of the people who saw that I was reading this book were like, you're not going to like that. And so I knew going into it that there was a good chance I would DNF it. I did get halfway through it though. I'm pretty proud of myself for making halfway through. It's short, I know, so not all that huge of an accomplishment, but it got to the point where I wasn't paying attention anymore. And when that happens, like, why are you still reading? Like, I was just trying to make it to the end. And I did like a lot of the world building. I liked how they talked about the way that their timelines interwove and stuff like that, and all of the descriptions of like Atlantis and stuff like that. And I thought that the concept of the book itself was really cool, but the way it was written, it's so experimental, and I'm not the biggest fan of experimental writing. I like plot, and so you're gonna have to give me a lot of plot before I like your book. So yeah, we all kind of knew this is where I would land with This Is the Time War. It was fine. I did think the writing was quite beautiful, and I did like the conversations that the two main characters were having. I thought that was pretty cool, but it's just not my type of book. It's just not. And so I'm going to officially DNF it. Now, I do have a book that Essa personally recommended to me, and that is Break the Bodies, Haunt the Bones. I believe that's what it's called. I will post an image of it because I have it on audio. But the way she was talking about it, I immediately bought it. So I'm going to give this one a shot and see how we do. So far, I can definitely see why Essa recommended the Tethered Mage series to me. And I can definitely see the influence from This Is How You Lose the Time War to what Essa does with the Lumniferi. And the way I asked her, I think I told you guys this, I asked her if one of her characters was based on a character in the Tethered Mage, and she said, actually, I wrote No Effect Gloss before I read the Tethered Mage. They just happened to align. And so I am always on the lookout for those types of characters. So if you guys know who I'm talking about, because I don't want to give spoilers, then please tell me, because I need more of those types of characters in my life, always. But yeah, I mean, I don't think that this has gone bad. Obviously, I had one that was a hit and then one that was a miss. So let's see what I think about this next one. Hey guys, it is Thursday morning and it's a little chilly, so I've got my blanket on. I am about halfway through
Break the bones, haunt the body, break the bones. I can't remember the name of it right now. My brain is a little mushy. So I have to say, I am enjoying this one. It's a little odd. It's really reminding me of like Eric LaRocca style horror. And I do like Eric LaRocca, so I have an issue with this one though, in the fact that there's a plot, but it's not cohesive, and the book is rabbit trailing quite a bit. So in this book, we have a girl who is haunted and her brother who is haunted. This whole town is haunted, and that's kind of like the whole point. This whole town is just full of ghosts, and everybody kind of has their own haunting, and like the girl's possessed, the brother's possessed, the mom's possessed, the dad's possessed. But that's just the normal state of things in this world and or in this town. And the girl finds someone to fall in love with and he's possessed. But there's so much going on in this, and I can kind of see how this is talking about a socio-economical collapse and stuff like that. And then we have her brother is possessed by this mad scientist who is creating pig people. And it's really funny to me a little bit because they work at the slaughterhouse, these pig people, and the humans think that these pig people are taking over their jobs. It's weird. Not gonna lie, it's weird, but I do like weird. I really like the atmosphere of this book. So when I pick up a horror, what I want is like that slow burn build to the real horror that we're going to face. And I feel like we're getting that. So I'm not completely put off by the fact that this book refuses to stick to the plot. But I can see this coming in at like a 3.5, maybe a 4-star. And it is Thursday morning. I haven't quite finished this. I was hoping to squeeze in The Echo Wife by Sarah Gailey. That was actually the one that I was like really looking forward to. Not that I wasn't looking forward to the rest of these, but that one was the one that I was like, yes, I'm so excited. And if I do that, this vlog might go up a little later than I hoped it would. So we'll see. We'll see what I do with that. I am really liking this one. Like I said, very reminiscent of Eric LaRocca and the things that he writes. And I do like Eric LaRocca. And I don't think that this is going to be a new favorite horror or anything like that, but I definitely think it's worth the read. And I really want a physical copy of it because I really like the cover. However, I'm trying to get away from that. I am selling my copy of The Adventures of Amina Al-Sarafi because I realized I was holding on to that just because the book is absolutely stunning. And when it's a work of art, I want to keep it. But I didn't love that book. So I'm trying to just hold on to the books that I love. And even though it's really tempting to buy this book just because of the cover, I shouldn't. I really shouldn't. All right, I'll check in with you guys whenever I finish this. Hopefully I can finish it today and then pick up The Echo Wife, maybe post the vlog a little later in the day. I'll still have it up by Friday, but I am liking that Essa's picks were all kind of short. So that's been nice, and it's kind of given my brain a bit of a break so that I'm not like rushing to get things done. But I'll check in with you guys later. Hey guys, I have just finished Break the Bodies, Haunt the Bones, Break the Bodies. I never can remember the actual title. It's so long. So I have to say, I kind of liked this one. I am such a plot-driven reader, though. I'm such a plot-driven reader that when this book went off the rails, I kind of lost interest, even though that's the interesting part of the book. But we have a lot of stuff going on, a lot of stuff. And for me, if you're gonna put this much, like, or this many different things in play in a novel, one, it's got to be fairly long because you've got to invest time in all of these different elements. And this is only like 300 pages long. And
if you're going to have all of these elements, they all have to be done well. And not all of these elements were done well. And so I think like I can definitely see that the weirdness is what drew Essa into this book and made her love it so much, because Essa's writing, like I've said before, it's very flowery, but it's also a little strange. It's a little out there, and it's one of the things I really love because I've talked about the Lumina Fairy quite a bit in talking about Essa's works, and it's really hard for me to explain because I can tell you about universes collapsing and folding in on each other and universe bubbles and things like that, but it's not going to make sense unless you read it. And so I feel like this is one of those books. Like, it's not going to make sense unless you read it. I did also love that this had kind of like an economic fear-based way of telling a horror, because that I found that different. But again, it's not something that I really find all that scary. I mean, we've been living it for so long now. Doesn't really have that much horror to it anymore. I had been planning on reading The Echo Wife. I feel like I am doing a disservice in not reading it in this video. However, I have run out of time. I do still plan to read The Echo Wife because it is one that I do think I will probably like. But for the sake of this video, I have to say me and Essa do not have similar tastes. Now, does that affect the way I'm going to read her moving forward? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I can definitely see where her influences came from. I can definitely see why she likes certain books. And that's the whole point of these videos, is to be like, I want to see where your influences are. I want to see what you like, what you read. Do our tastes align? No. S's and my tastes do not align. And she was actually a little afraid that they would not. And I had to tell her, you know, even Anthony Ryan wouldn't like a knock it out of the park home run. But I did really enjoy this experience, even though I didn't get to the book that I really wanted to get to. I do think that these books were all highly entertaining, even though they weren't necessarily for me. And even the beauty of This Is How You Lose the Time War is not lost on me. I just didn't enjoy it personally. That is it for my video. Like, subscribe if you would like, and if you'd like to connect with me in any other way, I have all of my links in a Linktree link down below. Bye!